This indicates that we are live. Okay, welcome to the Anyone Can Farm. I'm your host, Mark, coming to you from Baker's Green Acres in lovely Marion, Michigan. Today is the 20th of May, 2022. Yeehaw. Yeehaw, Friday. So, what a day. What a day we had here today. Probably the leading news that I know of is we had a tornado in Gaylord. If you see it written down, you will think that's Gaylord, but no, it's Gaylord. They pronounce it Gaylord, not Gaylord. It looks like Gaylord, but it's not. And it was pretty bad. My son is a fireman in Kingsley, and so he's got the straight skinny on what's going on, and I guess it was pretty bad. They say it's going to take several days to get it cleaned up, and possibly some fatalities. I know there was definitely a lot of injuries. It went right down Main Street. Wow. The big one, I was hearing that it was the biggest one they've had in Michigan since about 1977. That's the year before I graduated high school. So, yeah, not good. And we did have a little bit of weather here. We had a lot of wind. Gaylord is an hour north of me, hour and 10 minutes maybe, right up 75. And so we had some wind and some rain. It's clouded over. It was just a day today. Gorgeous. It was like 70 degrees and just nice blue sky, a little few puffy clouds and stuff. All right. We got the Declare Homestead with us. We got Ingo with us. Keith's with us. And Brittany's with us from way over in Minnesota. Way over there in Minnesota. Practically on the West Coast. All right. So today I had Joe working with me again, and we made a lot of progress yesterday. And today we dug right in on getting water over into the campground. Yeah, we are way in South Dakota right now. All right. And that is done. And we had a little bit of, trying to figure out. Now, I've never built a campground before, and I've been to a few of them, stayed at them, but I never really think about how they're set up. And you have to think that way. And I know just from having people drive on my property, you all of a sudden, hey, let's drive out there in the middle of the field. You have to have it laid out pretty precisely. And even people do some pretty wild stuff when they're driving. Yeah, turn left there right at the outhouse, and then they'll just keep going. Just keep going right up the hill. Don't worry about the road that turns out. Just keep going. Yeah. One time there was a guy here, and he said, well, where can I back up? And I said, see that hydrant right there? Just go past that and then make a loop right past that. And I facts. The hay hadn't been cut yet, and it was pretty high. And he drove out there, and he got to within about 2 feet of our well. And well, you couldn't see it. The grass was up over it, and stopped, and then backed up. So he went way out in the field on a hay field. Yeah. I don't know. What do you say? By the time I realized that had happened, he was gone. Yeah, all kinds of things like that happen. So setting up a campground, there's all kinds of things like that, and you want to make it as precise as possible or as easy to understand as possible. And we had thought about a big horseshoe, but finally Joe came up with a way today where it's just going to be a single road with a turnaround at the end, and we'll put stakes along the side so people don't I'll just pull off into the hayfield here. We're going to try and then we're going to try it ourselves to see how well it works. All right, what do we got? We're about to get hit with thunderstorms. Sure needed the rain. Okay, that's Inga. Inga's way over there in Muskegon, they call it. It's an Indian word. And the Indians were complaining to the white man when he came here. And he said, because of you, Muskegon, all the muskies, we fished them out. Okay, well, cool. So we got that done and started off. I had seeded a field day before yesterday, and today I had to get the seeds turned down. So usually I'll go out and I'll spread seeds, broadcast them, and then I have a drag that I take over them. It's really nice if you can drag over them and then it rains, that's what it did this afternoon. So it was perfect. So my field peas should be breaking through by next week this time. They will be breaking through and doing really well. All right. Okay, so today is Open Line Friday, and what we've done, because we deleted the Wednesday show, Open Line Friday has become more of a Wednesday Q&A show. We can talk about your guys' stuff. I try not to bring anything to the table. Hey, Luann's with us. Had a bad tornado go through Gaylord, right? Yeah, I was just telling him about it. Were you there? Or were you just up in where are you? I just can't think of the name of it. I know where it is. I drive up through there occasionally. So today's Open Line Friday, and okay, monkeypox, you got him? You got him? I thought we were still on Ukraine. I thought we were still doing Ukraine. I don't know. We were working in the campground yesterday, and one of our neighbors drove by, and I thought, yep, she's gonna, yeah, Mansalona, right? I knew you were in Mansalona. All right, Justin's with us, and she was driving by, and I thought she's gonna pull in and ask us what we're doing, and I'm just gonna say, well, just in case some Ukrainians need a place to stay, we got to make room for them here. Yeah, but she didn't pull in. Too bad. She would have thought it was funny. So the campground's looking good. I think we got it figured out. I think we do. I think it's going to be pretty nice. And when we sit down there and look out over the hayfield and into the adjoining farms, it's actually a very, very nice view, very peaceful. And we don't have a lot of traffic at all. There's no traffic at night. So yeah, I think it's going to be pretty nice. So if you are coming to Tribe Day and you are going to need a place to park, you'll have to kind of call ahead. We're doing the campground as another facet on the farm. It will be a pay per night type thing. There is water there. There's no electricity yet, but we've done had some consulting done on that, and we know what we need to do. We just haven't got it done yet. Yeah, you're right, the cleric. I could definitely do a video on the campground. I will do that. I will do that. I plan on this weekend. I am going to be wearing my mower out this weekend. I've got a lot of grass to cut this weekend. Price of fuel in town today was $4.60, and my sons, I have two firemen sons now. I have an EMT and a fireman EMT, are talking to me and telling me that we can plan on much more expensive fuel. Now, I don't know what they know. I don't know how they know this. I guess they're just at the firehouse and there's a bunch of talk going on there. But I did hear that today. And then people send me stuff. Luann's famous for sending me stuff. And I'm still maintaining my sense of optimism, even though I think it's going to get tough for a while. For me, I'm not locked into a 9 to 5 and all of a sudden fuel goes up $3 and it comes off of my recreation money. That's not what goes on here. So the price of fuel going up it's painful, but not like for some people. I realize for some people it is extremely painful. And it kind of takes away your recreation money or your mad money or your beer money or whatever it is. Not quite that way for us because of the way we're operating. We will just, that trip to go see the sunset out at Lake Michigan, an hour that way, an hour home. And maybe we won't do that if price of fuel is $7 a gallon. Maybe we won't, But then again, maybe we will, because I was, as I said to my son today, look, you take your girlfriend to movies that the ticket to get in the movie is $15. And then you got to pay for the fuel, the popcorn, and, all that. That's expensive. I don't go to movies. So for me to just take a little drive when everybody else is staying home, it's a pretty cheap form of entertainment, even if fuel was $10. A gallon of gas will take me quite a long way in the man van. So, it's not going to hit me like it's hitting everybody else. I already have my diesel fuel for hay cutting. I already have it. So I'm kind of ready, but I've been in the prep mode you have to, when you're in this business, you have to be planning ahead all the time. And with this, I got a lot of information sent at me just today from friends and family about things, about shortages of diesel fuel, baby formula, about food shortages, about you name it. And it was not too much of it was good. Although I believe these things have to happen. I do believe they have to happen. And I don't think there's anything we can do to prevent them from happening. The only thing you can do really is make sure right now, you can still get to the store and you can still get a lot of stuff. Make sure you've got what you need for if something like this really comes down, like these poor people up in Gaylord now. There are going to be people there that need, food. And I guess the grocery store got blown to pieces. The Gordon Food Supply got obliterated. The Dunham Sports Store, the whole roof was down on the ground. So things happen, and it'd be a good idea to get your preps up to speed. Okay. All right. Justin Z, face diapers are back for indoor facilities on Monday. Where the hell is this? I didn't hear about that. Not for me, they're not, brother. Not for me. That reminds me, I had two people pull in the driveway yesterday. They both had face masks on. They were older folks, and they just pulled down to the shop for a chicken drop-off, and they had a car, like a hatchback car. I don't know what it was. It was brand new. And she had the whole head thing on, and they both had face masks on, so they'd only see like this much. And they had two pens in the back of this car. The seats were all folded down and stuff. And just each pen had probably 10 really nice chickens in it. laying chickens. These ones, I can't think of the name of them. They're white and they have like a black collar on them. I don't remember the name of them. Really nice. But when I saw them, I thought, oh, those are nice looking chickens. And they said, no, you can go ahead and butcher them and then donate the meat to anybody. And we will just pay you for it. And they were laying chickens. They weren't, they weren't meat chickens. So it wouldn't have made a lot of sense to do it. And they said, well, we're leaving the state and we can't keep them. So we just need them gone. And I just said, oh, we'll keep them. We'll keep them. So they got like 15 chickens, real nice ones too. So what do you guys want to talk about tonight? This is Open Line Friday. I think that at this point, you should have it figured out that they cannot make you wear a face diaper. You can refuse. And then if they fire you for doing it, then so be it. But I just don't know if I would do it. I'm certainly not going to. Any place that I go, I will just ignore them and let them get all flustered if they want to, but I'm not going to do it. You can't come in. Well, watch me come in. Touch me. See what happens if you touch me. Then you have big problems. Just don't do it. I mean, come on, don't give up your freedom just because somebody says we need to do this again. Why do we need to do this again? What, is everybody getting sick of the Wu flu, or is this monkeypox coming in? They're going to continue to do this stuff to you. And, some of it we can't do much about, like the food thing and the diesel thing. We can't do much about that. But we can. And it is imperative that you push back against this. Like, if it's not in your workplace and then places where they're going to do it, go there anyway, just to mess with them. And just refuse to do it. And what? They're going to call the cops? They're going to touch you? They can't. Push back. It's not easy, but it's got to be done. So what are we going to talk about? I hope our Constitution and our sovereignty isn't handed over to the World Health Organization at Geneva Convention this weekend. Well, I got news for you. You'd have to have maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe that's what needs to happen to get people off of their butts. I think one of these days we're going to have to take to the streets and start hauling some of these guns out and giving them a stern talking to. And I don't know. It's going to have to push a little bit further. All right, Luann's got some good news. Her intel states who has been defunded by Trump and taken over by the White Hats, as per Janine. Yeah, maybe. I heard a pretty good one on David Rodriguez. He had on. This was good. This was a different take on things. I listened to it this morning, and I think it was, or I started it last night, and I think it's worth listening to. Yeah, it's Bo Polney. This event will be biblical. It's on the David Nino Rodriguez show, and it was on last night. And this guy has a little bit of a different take to this, but I think he's accurate. And I believe that, these things have to happen in order for the old system to just be, it's just closing in on itself. It's eating itself. But yeah, it's going to be tough on us. It's going to be tough on us. And I think we're going to come through it. I believe we'll come through it because I don't think evil is going to triumph long term. I just don't. It never does. Short term, yeah, but just hang in there. Just keep yourself hydrated and fed, whatever it takes, and just keep the faith. It's going to be all right. But also, by the same token, don't let them push you around. Put masks on. Screw you. What are you going to do if I don't? We're going to fire you. Go ahead. Go ahead. Do it. Pulled me. All right. Okay, so I say again, what are we going to talk about tonight? What are we going to talk about? Doesn't look like anybody's got anything, any questions or anything. The Hug Bug's with us. How you doing? How's your homestead doing? We got to have a little private comm here soon. All right. Okay, Inga's saying, has anyone watched a decode on Operation Warp Speed? It seriously makes me question DJT. Yeah, but even if DJT is not who we think, we are still who we think. And you have to remain optimistic. You can't get downtrodden because all of a sudden you think that, well, Trump was really one of them. On some levels, he's definitely one of them. They don't let you become a billionaire. They don't let you do that unless you're part of the club. And happening. I think that get a lot of insight actually from Owen Benjamin. I really do. When you hear his testimony about what he was about when he was in Los Angeles and part of the Hollywood crowd, he was a comedian, and what it took to become part of that crowd. And then because of something that he said that was, it was just slamming somebody about something, which is comedians do. All of a sudden he was just, oh, that's too much. And he was just speaking too much truth about how things really work. And they kind of blackballed him. They put him out. And so now what's he doing? He's homesteading. So he's getting a dose of what it's like to live an intentional lifestyle. He was living before was, fun is fun, but make a out of a professional comedian, how long can that last? So I get a lot of insight from him on, I don't listen to just one person, and there's some of what he says that I kind of question, but it does widen my thought process, and it has helped me to realize that the direction that we went as a family was the direction I'm glad I went. I really am glad I went this way, and I'm going to stay on this path. I don't plan on doing this. I really don't. For a while there, I thought, I don't want to know if I didn't want to grow old on a farm. There's too much work going on. Maybe I'd like to be able to, move, see something else. There's always that part of me, but I don't think so, because what we're working on actually is generational wealth. So now my kids are coming back to the farm. They left for a while, but now they're coming back. And they're finding that, hey, this is probably not such a bad thing to keep going because, hey, and where is wealth really? What is wealth? Is it a fat bank account? Is it a fat? That's part of it, but if you have that invested in real property, that is a very solid form of wealth. Now, if this was just hunting property, well, I guess I could sell it for a little bit more than I paid for it, something like that. But if you've got property that is productive farm property, well, I think that's a better way to go. And if you've got a lot of systems that work together on a homestead like this, well, there's always something being produced. There's always a place where I can plug people in to put in a full day's work. And, it's a wealth generator is what it is. If I have like a solid piece of hay ground and somebody shows up and says, I'm here to work for the day. What do you want me to do? I don't know. There's nothing until we're going to cut the hay, and then there would be something for you to do. But until then, there really isn't anything to do. But on a place like this, there's always something to do. It does, I would say, it slows down a little bit in the dead of winter. But now I have shops that are heated, and so I can do things in those shops to prepare for spring when it comes. Over on the property next door, which, by the way, is, I think it's official now. It's part of the acres now. We bought it off Lone Star. We put a campground in over there, and there is some ideas kicking around about building a school, a good sized building that we could accommodate more people in. And with the campground there, people could stay in their own campers while they take our classes and things like that. It's not going to happen this year. Decided that with everything that's going on and the price of fuel and everything, we're just going to stay with the facilities that we have. Actually, our shop, we're going to make a few changes to the maintenance shop and just utilize that, because we've operated for 10 years now with nothing. Just, we do pig cuttings on the hay wagon, and it seems to work out pretty good. But, if we did plan to up our game and we decided that it was time to make that investment, we would do that. We would build out a property, and I think we could actually use it for other things as well. But we'll see. I don't have any clear direction on that right now. The feeling that I'm getting right now is, let's play wait and see. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see. Now, my feeling has always been, I'm always approaching it from the optimistic side, right? And so when I start working in the garden, and I'm working against the weeds, I have a tendency to look at it as, ooh, the weeds, right? And started reading this book because of a commercial that I heard last night. I heard a commercial, and after I heard this, it was one of those deals where I was listening to something, was taking a shower, and then it went to the commercial, and the commercial was some woman, and she was, a naturopath, I guess, and she was a herbalist, and I don't know. She just started talking about weeds, and she rattled off about 10 different weeds. And I thought, yeah, we have those weeds here. It started off with purslane, and we have a lot of purslane. And for some reason, I look at purslane and I say, that just doesn't look like something I should be chopping up with a weed chopper. But and we eat it from time to time, not a lot. And so I listened to this commercial, and you know what? That is being like put right in my face. And we're overlooking purslane for iceberg lettuce. Get that purslane away from my iceberg lettuce. I don't know if that's smart. I know it's not smart. And so I said to Jill about it, and she said, you should read this book. So I started reading it last night. And you think you know a lot until you read a book like that, and then you find out what you don't know. And one of the first things I did today, I found a quarter that was up this high, and I just sat there and I plucked them out, and one after another, I ate them. One after another. And they're so good. And now that I know that's actually good for me, compared to iceberg lettuce, which really isn't even that good for you. So if we have this optimistic point of view, I think that we do live in an abundant world. It's just that the other side, the dark side, is constantly trying to convince us that we live in a very sparse world. There's nothing here for you. You're going to starve. You can't afford the good stuff. Everybody has it better than you. And I don't think I don't know. That's one of those things, you start feeling that way, and then you start making mistakes, and then you start losing motivation. And before you know it, yeah, you are living under the bridge, but staying optimistic and feeling like, hey, it's going to be better. It's going to be better tomorrow. And it's always getting better for me. One of the things I did today that really gives me a charge, I have this, the field, and I have rye that I planted last fall. You guys know how much I like rye. Beth knows how much I like rye. And it was up about 2.5 feet. It's way up there now. And we weighed it the other day, and we were getting about 1/2 pounds. When I made the video, it was 2 pounds, but then it went up to about 2.5 pounds. And I decided today that I'm going to let the pigs in on it. I'm just going to do that because I want them to have it while it's got the most nutrient density to it. And plus I got the field peas in the field next to it. So the field peas are going to be up there in probably 4 weeks, 5 weeks, maximum 6. And I don't want the rye. I don't want anything left of the rye. I want them to get it all. So I think they can knock it down in about 6 weeks. But when I let them in, we could only see about this much of their backs. And these are big pigs. I knocked one off last week, and it was 345 pounds. So it's a big, big pig. And it's just the neatest thing because, they're turned out into a field full of that feed, and they're just eating it, and growing and gaining. And then they manure it back, and the field becomes more fertile, and it grows better rye, and it's just getting better all the time. So let's see. That's me. What do we got? Ooh, a lot of cool stuff. The people are the power. They are, Jeremy. But there has to be optimism. If you are totally pessimistic, and if you're pessimistic, you're defeated already. And this operation that's run against Americans day in and day out about how defeated you are, it's working. And we can't let it work. We have to counter that with an optimistic message. And then all of a sudden, it's like, there's nothing you can do. It's like when my pigs, right? Let's say I have a field full of pigs. There's 30 of them out there. Every now and then, they get fired up, and they'll start to run around in circles, and they're kicking their heels up, and they're, just having a good time. I can stand there and say, stop. It doesn't matter. They're going to keep doing it. If yet her self-optimistic state where she just is unstoppable, like, hey, I'm going to build a new house. Hey, I'm going to set up a homestead. I'm going to set up a vegetable stand out in front. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. and people are optimistic about what they're doing, that's how we're going to heal this country. When we're waiting around for these politicians to fix things, that is a recipe that is the recipe right there. I've had a couple of friends that decided to get into politics, and I have a hard time faking it. Right? I really do. And I was not real optimistic. I wasn't like, hey, this is good, because this is a good man here that says, okay, this is the fix. And he's young. And so he says, okay, this is how I serve my country. I'm going to get into politics. I think really what we need is a solid dose of, what would you call it? Solid dose of apathy when it comes to like the Capitol and the governor. Like, oh, the governor says we have to put our masks on. And it's like, really apathy. Like, don't tell us what to do. That's not what you're there for. Pay the bills, fix the roads, and shut the hell up, right? That's really, we run our lives, but Americans have gotten kind of trained to, gee, what's Nancy Pelosi saying today? She's saying we can go out today. Oh, good. Thank you, Nancy. We can go out. Oh, what's Chuck Schumer saying? Oh, and I hate to see some of my friends get involved in that, because you're in with a bunch of turds, and we really need to bring our local economies up to speed. So you guys can say what you want. It really doesn't matter what you say. We are American citizens governed by a U.S. Constitution. You can have your policies if you want, but we're not going to pay any attention to them if they're not consistent with our Constitution. So if you want to be an enemy of the Constitution, go right ahead and do it, but don't expect us to hop to, right? So I think the politicians really need to be put on the back burner. They've screwed everything up as it is. And so why are we still looking towards them? Oh, we'll get a good guy in there next time. Yeah, we'll get a good guy in there next time. Now, I think this whole operation has been about the Great Awakening, that you are Americans, start acting like it. Take care of business, build your own thing. If the barbershop makes you put a face mask on, build your own barbershop. If the school wants to teach your kids that putting, girls dressing like boys is okay, and boys, getting themselves mutilated to be like little girls, if the school wants to teach that, build your own schools. You don't have to go to those schools. Just it's voluntary. Oh, there's nothing we can do. They're making us do this in school. No, they're not. You don't have to go to school. Oh, they're making me get this shot where I work. No, they're not. No one's holding you down. They're saying, don't come in unless you get it. Well, fight back. Go in and see what their next move is, right? See how dedicated they are to what they say. And if you get hauled out of there, so be it. But you have to make a stand. You have to. Let's see what we got. The people are the power, that's for sure. Okay, can I reserve the furthest campsite from the road under that maple tree? I will even trim those low branches. You can. You can. It's yours, man. Hopefully I get some gravel in there by then so it's nice and firmed up. It's actually, we drove back and forth over it today a bunch of times, and it was really nice. Okay, you guys are talking about enter Thesters, enter the stars. He correlates everything biblically. His Operation Warp Speed Decode is an eye-opener for sure. Everything happening goes back to the Bible and explains it fully. That's kind of what that Bo Polgny guy was talking about. He was talking about the United States is our systems really need to completely crash. They really do. They're pretty bad. I just heard a thing about the CEO for Pilot Flying J, and they are the premier over-the-road supplier of diesel and what do you call it? Diesel fuel. I don't use it, so I'm not really sure what it is, but it's that other stuff you have to put in the newer diesels since like 2010. DEF. Yeah. And the railroad is cutting them off. They're cutting them off. So our supply of diesel is not looking good. Right. Okay, so Justin's with us. Luann's with us. Okay. All right, Jeremy. Learning to convert problems, weeds, into opportunities, food and fodder, is the ultimate sustainable solution. It generates independence. Actually, absolutely. That is absolutely the key to this. Joe did a video because I think a lot of times when Joe is videotaping me, I can almost see it happen. It's like he gets it, like the light bulb goes on. Like Joe, like any kid, grew up on this farm, and then it was like, I'm out of here, right? And then he went out into the world and he did things for several years. You know, he's a welder and he worked for a crane company and it's a pretty good outfit. I mean, you know, went to school and then traveled the United States. But now I think he sees the farm as this is where Dad went intentionally after he left the military. You know, I worked for Lockheed Airplane Company. Then I worked for the military for 20 years. It's all over the world. I did a lot of things, met a lot of different people, had a lot of fun, had a lot of crummy times too. But my choice was the farm and this way of life. That was choice. When you get out of the military, you are fully trained to do a lot of things, and there are contractors that are waiting for you, and they will offer you big money. But generally, you have to live in population centers, and you know you're gone. You're away from your family again, but you make big money. But I was not interested in that at all. I wasn't interested in the machine anymore. The machine where I was required to recite, oh yes, this is a good thing. No, I wasn't interested in that anymore. You know, there was things I didn't agree with about it, and it's even gotten worse with the things like you're required to say, oh yes, Bruce Jenner is heroic. You know, and I just don't feel that way, and I don't want to work for anybody that says that I'm required to do that. That's crazy. All right, and so Joe and I were doing a video the other day, and I was mowing. So I have a nice mower. I mean, it's adequate. It's like 10 years old, but it's nice, and it's got like a 50-inch cut on it, so it's pretty wide. And I mean, I've gone through this thing so many times. It's got a lot of new parts on it. But with the campground, now I'm going to wind up mowing a lot more. And he was like, wow, that's going to be a lot more work to do. And I said, yeah, but all that grass that I'm mowing off of there, if I wasn't mowing it, I would be cutting it and turning it into hay. Either way, it's going to become food for the animals. Oh, yeah. So he makes a video of me showing the mower and showing we call it the harvester that goes behind the mower. It's like a vacuum, and it pulls all the clippings into a trailer. So you can carry, I don't know, like 750 pounds in that trailer of grass clippings. And this time of the year, it fills up fast. And the light bulb goes on that if we were just cutting this grass and we'd have to find a place on the farm to just pile it up. And then it's like, now what do we do with it? We would literally have a mountain of it. We would really have a mountain of this stuff. Now what do you do with it? But as it is right now, I do several fun things with it. One of them is I spread it out just after I cut it when it's green and wet, and then sprinkle corn on it or grain, whatever I have, and then pile it back up. And then it sits there, and whatever's in there, whatever grain I've put in, sucks up that sugar, and it starts to ferment, and it starts to work, and the process of breaking down. It would eventually make quite a bit and compost down, but before that happens, I'll scoop it up with the loader and take it and dump it with the pigs. They go bananas over it. Absolutely bananas. So I mowed the lawn, and I've got enough feed for my pigs for 3 days. That's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty darn good deal, right? So it's not just I've mowed the lawn, it looks nice, and now I got this mountain of grass that's I got to hide someplace because it stinks, and I can compost it too. I mean, I will never have too much cut grass. I will never have that. And I'm not even, I haven't even arrived on that. I'm thinking that there is a better way to do this. Like somehow if I have the mower is running, let's say, and I'm cutting grass. I'm going along and I'm cutting grass. Let's say I have a hopper someplace on the mower where you put in a 50-pound bag of shell corn, evil shell corn. And it's just dribbling in, with the cuttings or the grass clippings as the trailer's filling up. So you have this even mix of corn and grass. That might be kind of neat. And then a dripper in there that would be dripping I don't know, sugar water or what am I thinking of here? Where's Jack when you need him? Where did that guy go to? He always knew what I was thinking. Molasses. You can buy molasses at the feed store. Get your animals to be more interested in the feed that you feed. All right. So yeah, definitely right there, Jeremy. You always want to be able to turn lemons into lemonade, no matter what. You've got to think about it long enough and you'll be able to do it. Oh, Luann, you must know who I'm talking about. Oh, this gal? Katrina Blair. Okay. I don't know. I just started reading her last night. Okay, Sean Wise. Mark safe from the tornado. Missed us by 1 mile. Missed my daughter's house by 2 houses in her neighborhood. And the crazy thing is, still very little rain. West side of town is a mess. In Gaylord. Sorry, Gaylord. When you are around people from Gaylord, and somebody will say, "Well, you live in Gaylord?" No, it's called Gaylord, not Gaylord. All right. Yeah, Sean, glad you made it. Stupid tornado. I wonder if that's true, Luann. What we think about becomes our reality. We create our world. I wonder. I don't know. Like, I just don't know. Okay, James has got a question. Have you ever run into skinny sows? I sure have. Now, if they're lactating and they're getting skinny, then it's the time to either do one of two things. You either want to boost their calories, like boost them, really boost them, or kick their babies off. Usually by the time they're getting skinny, it's time to take the babies away, and then they'll bounce back. If they're not lactating, then there's a couple of things to look at. Lice and worms. And in both cases, you probably by the time you get to the point where you're noticing they're skinny, it might be time to resort to the big guns, and that's Ivermec. And you can get Ivermec. There's tons of store. The pour on stuff. People don't get that. And you just mix it up, pour it down their back, and it absorbs through the skin, and it does what it's supposed to do. I don't think you'd want to put it on animals that you're going to process right away, no matter what they say. Okay, I have other homesteaders who I am trying to convince to come to the tribe day. They asked about a schedule about the speakers and the subjects. Does it exist? See what Jill says to that, Justin. I'm sure it does. It's not my job, man. That's not my job. I know I'm one of the speakers. My husband refused to be a Beltway bandit after retirement. I knew guys that did that. Molasses, right on. All right, Jeremy's going to be my new go-to guy. You're taking Jack's place. I knew guys that did that, but actually it looks good from when you are a retiring GI and you're making X amount, and then they're offering you this much, and their base of operations is in, around the Beltway in Alexandria, Virginia, or whatever like that. But then you get down there, and like the prices of everything is really high because everybody's making so much. So you're right back where you started from, really. Actually, you're starting kind of at the bottom of the, you just got out of the military type thing. So a lot of them feel like you're an E1 again. You're just starting up over again. Yeah, I didn't want to do it. Jill saying to Justin, I'll get that posted. I've added some speakers, but this weekend I have a lot of info. Okay, cool. Last year, I mean, so long as we're talking about Tribe Day, last year it was sort of off the cuff. Amy Stumpo said, "Hey, you know what you guys should do? You should have like a farm camp." And it sounded like she was talking about like a youth camp, like a church camp, where you go and you're kind of immersed in things and you can kind of hang around together and stuff. And it sounded like fun to us. We used to go to church camp. And so it started getting talked about, and it got turned into, we'll call it Tribe Day. And it was quite ad hoc, but that day, it's the same day, it was the 9th of July, we had 85 people show up, and everybody was really cooperative, and there was no fist fights breaking out or anything like that. It was really nice. We got to spend time together and eat and relax, and it was really good. We had several people that came the night before and camped out Friday night, so they were here Saturday morning when we started, and they helped us get things around, which was really nice. And then some of them stayed over Saturday night, and we kicked them out of here Sunday forenoon. So I think we'll stay with the same schedule. We had a pastured poultry presentation, we had a preserving food presentation, we had a weed walk presentation by Jill. It's funny how she gets into these things, and then a year later I say, "Hey, you know what? We ought to get into that." And she's like, "Where have you been?" Yeah, I know. So What else did we do? Did I say pastured poultry? We did a pretty nice hayride. We had two groups that went on the hayride. We had to split them up. We had the pool open, so kids were swimming. It was just a nice day. And so this year, I think it will be probably pretty good too. Pretty good. So. All right, Jeremy. I enjoyed the military, but I want a drastic change now. Oh boy, did I. But you know what? As soon as I got here, I didn't know any better. So I would get up in the morning and I had to set up a desk, and I would go out to my desk and I would sit down and make a list of what I was going to do. And then I would assign myself things. And I'd get them done. It was pretty good. It was disciplined for a while. But then I had to deal with the whole thing like, what do I wear today? See, in the military, you're wearing the same clothes like every day. If they're not exactly the same clothes, which a lot of us did wear clothes every day, I mean the exact same clothes, you could wear a uniform a lot. You know, once it got so dirty anyway, it didn't matter. You change your t-shirt, change your underwear. I wore underwear back then. You would change your socks, but your uniform, no, same uniform. Probably not Jeremy, because he was having a hobnob quite a bit, I'm sure, up there at the wing. Okay, who's this? All right, Andy just showed up with us. Right on. Andy's saying he's a 3 level. Well, we're going to get you up to speed, son. You get those CDCs done. We'll get you signed off. Bring your, what was the training records? What was the name of the training records? I can't believe I can't remember that. It's only been 18 years. Something 79s. Jeremy, what was the number? No, 623s. No, when you sit down with your supervisor and signs you off on maintenance tasks, what is that? Nah, I can't remember. 797s. Okay, 797s. Yeah, they were the add-ons. That's right. Yeah, that was good. Ooh. His husband was a retired admiral. He outranked us all, fellas. Every one of us. Early morning dunk in the pool. I'm going to be starting that up. I knocked that off right around after Christmas. I stopped swimming in the pool, but I got to start it up. I really do. I got to get back on track with that. Showered every week, whether I needed it or not. 623s. Yep. Yeah. Well, okay. That was a good, fun time tonight. I guess my husband had little taste in street clothes. Yeah, well, what do you want? What do you want? You're wearing the same duds every day. Yeah. There wasn't much you could customize on a military uniform. Sleeves rolled up, and you guys maybe not even did that. You might not have rolled up your sleeves on your uniforms. I had the ripstop BDUs woodland that you could roll up, and there was a certain way you had to do it. But like I would roll them up, and they would stay that way for weeks. Like I said, I'd wear the same uniform every day. Just hang it up, air it out. Yeah, spray a little bit of starch on it and iron it. That cleans it. That helps it smell better. Yep. Oh, I still remember that smell. But I was in the days when you had to actually shine your shoes. You guys had like those desert boots that were like hush puppies. You didn't have to shine them. I've heard that the military went way downhill when they started not shining their boots. Remember shining boots? I don't know if you guys did that in basic training. I did. It was a time when you could sit down, actually. You'd sit with a group of guys and you'd be shining your boots. And you could make believe you're shining them even more, and you'd talk while you're shining your shoes. Just shine your shoes. You don't need to talk. Hang in locker, change boots, and put overalls, go to work. Yeah. I still have my coveralls. And for a lot of years here, I wore coveralls. And we used to cut them off. We used to cut them off right here. And my bosses let us wear them. We could not go on the line with them. But in the shop, we were in coveralls all the time. All the time. Even in the office, I'd be in coveralls. I love them. Green ones with the pockets on them. They were great. Still have a few pairs around here. All right, you shine boots. Shined a lot of boots. All right, well, if you're just getting out, then you were in for 20, and I was in for 20, and I've been out 18. I thought maybe, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, maybe I was wrong. I thought you guys were wearing hush puppies. All right. Well, I'm going to get going, and I'm going to recommend that we all kind of take care of business, keep your powder dry, and make sure your supplies are laid in. Oh, 25. Okay, I'm sorry about that, Jeremy. I only went 20 and change, and I had enough. 25, that's a long time. But I bet it went by quick. And wait till I'm 18 years out now, and it seems like I still have dreams, but there's people in my dreams from the Air Force, but it has to do with what we're doing on the farm. Like they're here with me. I still have dreams about them like it was yesterday. I still remember all their faces all the way back to when I was at my first base. It's really, really weird. And a few years ago, I lost a friend here, a civilian friend died from something. And another one of my friends was sick with the same thing at my second base, which was at Loring Air Force Base in Maine. And Jill said, "Hey, why don't you get out of here for a while?" And so I jumped on a plane and I went out there and went up to Loring. Loring's been closed since '94. I actually closed it down. I was one of the last 50 GIs there. I volunteered for it. It was awesome. It was awesome being there right at the end. But I went there and I got to town at midnight. And I just couldn't keep from not going to the base. I went to the base. There were some lights on there so you could see some things, but a lot of the base housing was still snowed in. But I drove around for quite a while. There's no security on the base. All the military's gone. Nobody's there at night. I don't even know what they do there now. I think it's DFAST, something like that there. Maybe. That might not even be there. But I would like to do it again. I'd like to go back there again. It was a B-52 base. There was 10,000 GIs there. We had a nuclear mission. It was a going base. You hit the ground running when you got there, and it did not stop until the day I left. Well, I shouldn't say that because I volunteered to stay and be one of the last GIs out. So there was 50 of us on the base, 50. And you would go to the chow hall every day. and they would have something made, but nobody would serve you. You would just take it. And you were supposed to be buttoning things up and sending things off and whatever you were supposed to be doing. I tell you what, my boss left before I did, and my date was to leave in a month and a half. That's what it said on my orders. So being the good GI that I am, I stayed. And I would occasionally put my uniform on and go someplace. Did you ever write on the schedule HOSP? HOSP? Like we have schedule in the duty section. And if so-and-so isn't there, you look at the schedule and it says, Baker, HOSP. Oh, he must have had to go to the hospital because you have all kinds of things, like appointments. But HOSP actually means home or some other place. So my last couple of weeks at Loring were spent just having fun. It was like one of the most secure bases that I've ever been to because it had nukes. And so when you go into the weapons storage area, there was a series of potential pitfalls, so it was high pucker factor going into the weapons storage area. But at the end, you could drive in. You could just drive in with your vehicle. And it felt to me, then it was a weird feeling. But what it feels to me like now is someplace where I've had an electric fence for years, and then it's not there anymore. I've moved it. You'd still have that feeling when you'd step in the weapons storage area. Like somebody's going to say something. But there was nobody there. There was no weapons there. There was nothing there. It was all gone. And all the revetments were open. You could walk in, walk around in them. There was nobody. There was a control tower there. No one was in it because the people in that control tower, they could make sure that your nose was put in a puddle, and it would be not fun for you. Never happened to me, but it could. Yep, those were fun days. But being at a base like that after all the security's gone, airplanes are all gone, mostly everybody's gone, just a small group of people. And we used to get together at night. And like all the cops were gone too. There was no cops on the base. There was nobody at the gate. I don't think there was anybody at whatever they called it, Triple Nickel. There was nobody there. Yeah. There was nobody there. But so we would get together and we would have games of horseshoes, and it always involved adult beverages, and other fun things. Right? But that was back in the early days. That was way early. All right. I could go on and talk about, Loring SAC. Those were, Strategic Air Command days. What a blast that was. What a blast. So many fun things. All right. Well, I got to get going. I hope everybody takes care and get motivated here. Get your farming on. Now is our time.